Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. But it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. Friends and grasshoppers, this is episode 121 of the Formless Podcast. I'm Dustin. 16 years ago today, our middle son came into this world, the biggest of our three boys, with an olive complexion and dark hair. His story is one that almost wasn't. And if it wasn't for a beautiful nurse named Blanca, who by pure chance ended up being the lead nurse of all three of our boys, things could have turned out very differently. But that's a story of its own. Coltrane was a little different right from the beginning. I don't think he's ever stopped moving. He would listen to music in the womb, and I'd watch him react, constantly kicking and shifting, just full of life before he even took his first breath. The day he was born was a blur, somehow blazingly quick and agonizingly slow at the same time. We are in triage. My glowing, beautiful bride, very pregnant in the bed, while Blanca and I caught up on the last 2.5 years. I was cracking jokes like I do when things make me nervous. We were talking about everything and nothing. It was just a normal day, other than the fact that we were going to have a baby. Everything was as calm as can be. In the middle of my ranting monologue about whatever, Blanca reaches over, nods at me like she's acknowledging that I'm talking, and pushes the button on the intercom and says, "I have a mom with child here who's decelling." I'll never forget this part. I have a code blue. An alarm went off somewhere, and before I could react, 4 or 5 nurses came into the room. Like a NASCAR pit crew, they swarmed around my wife, unhooking this and that, and wheeled her out. The whole thing couldn't have lasted 30 seconds. And they were gone. I'm left standing there slack-jawed with my wife's elderly grandmother beside me asking, "What happened? What's going on?" And I had nothing. I had no idea what was happening. Everything got slightly askew. I tried to follow, telling Grandma I'd be right back. But by the time I got to the hallway, by the time my brain caught up, I realized I didn't even know which direction they had gone to. So I wandered the hallway, first the wrong way, then back the other direction, toward what I later learned was the operating room. Kind of felt like I stepped into a scene of a Twilight Zone movie. It was in the Upside Down, for sure. The usual hospital bustle and hustle had vanished. There was no one in that hallway. Right about the time I'm about to lose it, this nurse appears and asks me if I needed anything or if I needed help with something. And I said, "I'm looking for my wife." I don't know where she's at. She pulled up a chair and had me sit down while she found out what was going on. Found out that they were prepping my wife for an emergency C-section. And all of Cole's running around, tossing and turning, jumping and kicking. He'd gotten his umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. And as he was trying to be born, he was choking himself. Not completely uncommon. But they were very, very close to losing him. We were very close to losing him. Now, everything came out fine, obviously. As it's my son's birthday today, as I said. My wife is happy and healthy and still putting up with me. Blanca was there again with our third son, Thomas, being born. Life carried on. Haven't really thought a whole lot about that since that day. Occasionally it comes up in conversation when we're talking about our boys being born, the different stories. But this morning, hearing my wife's input from the story, filling in the gaps that I had missed, this one thing kept coming back to me over and over again. In the face of all that tragedy and chaos, just on the brink of complete disaster, that team of nurses got down to business. No hesitation, no panic. They moved with a purpose. After Cole was born and my wife woke up from surgery, I told her everything from my side. How scared I was, how little I knew, and how fast it had all happened. I explained to Blanca the same. Like, what the heck? What happened? Why'd you run out so quickly? She said, there was no time to explain. That baby would have died that baby would have died in the time it would have took me to tell you what was going on. Practice until you can't get it wrong, and then do it. That line has been on my mind all morning, because that's what I witnessed in that moment. A group of people so dialed in, so practiced, so committed, that when everything went sideways, they didn't miss a beat. That practice kept my son alive. That day taught me how thin the line between everything is fine and nothing will ever be the same. One moment we were joking in triage, and the next, the world tilted. And in that moment, we were completely in the hands of people whose names, to this day, I don't know. People who probably never get the recognition they deserve. That's the thing with people in that profession, nurses, doctors, EMTs. Their entire lives revolve around someone else's worst day. They don't get trophies. They don't get applause. Most of the time, they don't even get remembered. But they show up every single day. And when things go terribly wrong, they're the ones who try and make it right. It's humbling. That day taught me not to take anything for granted. Not breath, not time, not the people who step into your life at the exact moment you need them. Life is fragile. Family is fragile. Friends, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that some part of that maybe struck a chord with you. And if it did, hit me up in a chat. I'd love to talk to you about it. You can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, all at the Formless Pod. You can email us at theformlesspod@gmail.com. And I hope you have a wonderful day.